So, in our system, this is what we use, okay? And I talked about how President Obama was a member of the Senate. Okay, when he was elected in 2008, he had to give up that seat, okay, to become president. You cannot be in both branches. And then we use the Electoral College, okay? So the president, okay, is chosen independently from the legislature, okay? So either the people or we use the electoral, like I said, the Electoral College is what elects the president, okay? Now, some branches may have more power than others, and the president is the chief executive and head of state, okay? So this is a big distinction here. Okay, in our system, the President of the United States is both the head of state and the chief executive. And anytime you guys think about the executive branch, the head of the executive branch is the person that has the real power. Okay, they run the day-to-day affairs of the country. All right, they're the boss. All right, the head of state in parliamentary systems, as we're going to talk about, is more of a ceremonial figurehead. So, like if aliens came landed in the United States and they said, "Take me to your leader," okay, we would take them to the President of the United States. Okay, he is both, runs the day-to-day affairs, and is the ceremonial leader of the United States. Does that make sense? Okay, and so the next system we're talking about is the parliamentary system. And it's really best to just kind of focus on Britain here, but there's a lot, most countries use this. We are a rarity using the presidential system, okay? So in this system, the premier, the prime minister, in Germany, they call it the chancellor, okay, is elected by the legislature or the parliament, not the people, okay? So if the prime minister loses support in the parliament, they can hold for new elections almost at any time. Okay, here's a big thing, okay? In order to be the prime minister, you must be an MP. What's an MP? Military police? What's an MP? A member of parliament. Okay. Today, we talked about the Prime Minister of Britain is Boris Johnson, right? The blonde-headed dude. Okay. Boris Johnson. He is a member of parliament. You can't be elected prime minister unless you're a member of the body, because they elect one of their own to be the prime minister. Follow me? Okay, now this, what makes this confusing is people use different names for this. Okay, so in Germany, before I get to Germany, who is the head of state in Great Britain? Who? The Queen. The Queen is the head of state. Does the Queen have power, Jack? What kind of power does the Queen have? Can she declare war? Can she raise your taxes? No. She's ceremonial. Okay, now with Britain, guys, Britain used to be the largest empire in the world. So there's a lot of nations that used to be controlled by Britain, including us. Okay, but countries like India, countries like Kenya, countries like Canada, okay, are still called loosely British Commonwealth nations, okay, that were once British, okay, that are no longer, but still have a relationship with Britain. And a lot of these countries, they speak English, like we do, because of the British, okay? Now, no longer are these countries controlled by the British, okay? But they still have a relationship. And so the Queen kind of has a special bond there. Have any of you guys watched The Crown on Netflix? Watch some of this, The Crown? Okay, it's quite fantastic, actually. Queen Elizabeth is 95, I believe, 95 or 96, okay? Guys, she's been around since before World War II, okay? And now, she wasn't always queen back then, okay? But she became queen after World War II, okay? And so the show just kind of follows Queen Elizabeth through her years. It's really good, okay? But, okay, so she is the head of state. And when the queen dies, her firstborn would normally become king, yes? Charles the First. Not Charles the First, but Charles is her son. Now, he's abdicated the throne. We talked about this the other day? No. So Charles abdicated the throne because, remember, he was the one that married Princess Diana. Okay? But he really wasn't in love with Princess Diana. He was in love with this other woman who was just like a regular citizen. And because of that whole shenanigans, he abdicated the throne. So his first son is William. His second son is Harry. Remember Harry? Harry married this Markle woman, and, you know, it's like a soap opera, right? So when Queen Elizabeth passes away, William will become king of Great Britain. First time in a long time that they had a king. Okay, since like World War II. All right? Now, so this is ceremonial. Okay? Now, in Germany, they have a chancellor and a president. Which one has the power? Yeah, the chancellor has the power. In Germany, the president is ceremonial. Okay, because remember when we talked about Adolf Hitler, right? How did Hitler come to power? How did he became chancellor? Okay, and the president at the time was a guy named Hindenburg, and Hindenburg was an old man and he was weak, and you know they just don't have a lot of power. It's just ceremonial. Let's look at Russia. Russia uses a parliamentary system, and they have a president and a prime minister. What is Putin? He's the president. Who has the power in Russia? President in a parliamentary system. Now, like the United States, Russia has term limits. So Putin was president for 8 years, okay? That's 2 terms, and then you got to leave office. He becomes prime minister, handpicks his successor, a guy named Medvedev, for 1 term, and then he runs for president again. This is how Putin has remained in power for so long, okay? So you see it's confusing, yes? So the prime minister in Russia is the ceremonial head of state. Yeah. So in the British Parliament, I'd say, we'll pull up a video here in a second. I'd say there's about 400. Close to what our system looks like. In Germany, it depends. But roughly around 600 to 800. It can vary. It's weird. They have a weird system. Okay. But it's over 600. Okay. We have 435 in the House and 100 in the Senate. Okay. And we're a much bigger country than those as far as population goes. You guys know we are the 3rd largest, most populated country in the world. The United States is behind China and India. We're 3rd. Okay. 340 million. So, now, these systems here can be very chaotic. So, like I said, if the Parliament loses faith in the Prime Minister in Britain, they can call for new elections. In fact, Boris Johnson can call for new elections if they're like, hey, he's getting a lot of criticism and so forth. He can say, all right, let's put it to a vote. Should I be Prime Minister or not? Now, that takes some guts. But they can call for new elections at any time. In countries like Israel, guys, which they're almost constantly under attack from their neighbors, okay, there can be a lot of turnover. In France, there have been times where they had several premiers, that's what they use in France, is premier, in a very short period of time. Like in a 2-year period, there's been like 6 different ones, okay, during chaos. Okay, our system, we have solid terms, okay, and you know, everybody writes their constitution differently, but there is some basic differences here between, you know, fundamental differences between parliamentary systems and presidential systems, okay? And I think that pretty much covers it, okay? So you've got to be a member of parliament, okay, member of parliament to become prime minister. You are elected by the parliament. You are together. So the legislative branch and the executive branch are tied together in a parliamentary system. In a presidential system, the legislative branch and the executive branch are separate and independent. And the president is chosen by somebody besides the legislative branch. Okay. So the parliament is a legislative branch. They make the laws. Okay. Now, I've got a video I want to show you. Now, this is kind of funny. In our system, guys, the President of the United States is not required to do press conferences. Okay, we saw Joe Biden give one last week. Okay, it was 2 hours long. It was the first one in like 100 days. All right, so the president in our system, everything is scripted. And it's not just Joe Biden. Okay, it's Trump, it's Obama, it's everybody. It's all scripted. Now, once a year in January, the President of the United States gives the State of the Union address. Okay, so I'm going to play you a little clip, the State of the Union address, and what our system looks like. Okay, and then I'm going to play you a little video of the House of Commons and what it looks like. And you'll notice a stark contrast. Which president you want to see do the State of the Union? Trump. You want to see Trump? You want to see Ronald Reagan? Bill Clinton? All right, we'll do Trump. This is the 2020. Let's do 20. Now, Reagan started this thing of inviting people, like guests, to the State of the Union, like to highlight.
And my fellow Americans, we meet tonight at a moment of unlimited potential. As we begin a new Congress, I stand here ready to work with you to achieve historic breakthroughs for all Americans. Millions of our fellow citizens are watching us now gathered in this great chamber, hoping that we will govern not as two parties, but as one nation.
So Republicans are over here, okay? Democrats are over here. Now, this is the House chamber where they normally have 435 people, okay? The senators are also in the room, so they're all packed in, okay? And down here, you can see there's some special guests. You've got the Joint Chiefs of Staff down here, some military people. You've got 4 Supreme Court justices sitting here, okay? And then members of the cabinet, okay, as well, okay? Now, the female members of the Democrat Party decided to wear white, okay, and that's kind of a statement against Trump, okay? And so when he says something that both parties like, they all stand up and clap, okay? When he says something that only his party likes, these people all sit there, stay seated, okay? They don't say anything, they just sit there, and the other party claps. Sometimes they get up and clap. Standing ovation stuff, okay? That's it. Does the president take any questions? No. Are there any comments made from the audience? Generally, no. It's all scripted. Somebody wrote the speech for him. Yes, the president has his own, input on these speeches. These things right here are where he reads the speeches. Okay, what do you call these? The teleprompter. Yeah, okay. And so where Trump would get in trouble is when he went off script, when he here's the speech, it's on the teleprompter, and then he wanted to talk about something else. Okay. And so he would go off script. And that's when you get your best stuff. Okay. Especially Joe Biden, when he goes off script, he's great. Okay. He's always been. I mean, Joe Biden's been in Washington for almost 50 years. So when he goes off script, yeah, he puts his foot in his mouth, but you're seeing the true Joe Biden. Okay. It's not scripted. Okay. So that's what our system is. So real prim, everybody's dressed nice, everybody's polite. It's all scripted. Now let's watch House of Commons.
Homeowners, if you are tired of paying too much money for electricity and have a history of paying your bills on... No.
Scotland's voices must be respected, Prime Minister.
Prime Minister!
The right honourable gentleman. I think that the points that he made are the same points he's been making in response to my statements, regardless of the content of my statements for some time now. He talked about the economic analysis. We did publish an economic analysis of the proposals that the government had put forward.
Order. There's plenty of scope for disagreement about what is true and what isn't true, but in fairness, I repeat the point that the person who has the floor must be heard. The Prime Minister.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Can I say to the right honourable gentleman that I think in his intervention from a sedentary position, he may have inadvertently misled the House on this matter. No. The government.
Order, forgive me, I didn't hear what was said. I hope the word liar wasn't used, but order, I'm perfectly capable of handling this matter with alacrity, and I shall do so. If that word was used without equivocation or qualification, that word must be withdrawn at once. At once. Order. If a member on the front bench used that word, I'm sorry, I'm not debating it, I'm not arguing, I'm not negotiating. That word must be withdrawn at once. Who was the person who used the word? I'm advised, I admit I didn't see which member you
Courtesy to yourself, I withdraw. For courtesy
And I intend to take as much time as is my right to make my point.
I think the honourable lady's come to an end. Can we have the minister, please?
Yeah, it's crazy in there. Okay, now what's interesting is when you see the prime minister stand up. Okay, in that case, I forget her name.
Homeowners, if you
Really?
are tired of paying too much money for electricity and have a history of paying your
Order, 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 order. I must ask the honourable gentleman, order. Don't require any assistance from some junior minister. Absurd proposition. I invite the honourable gentleman to withdraw that adjective that he used a moment ago. He's perfectly capable to withdraw that word.
I'm trying to get prime minister up here.
That anybody else is looked after his own pocket. I still refer to him as dodgy Dave.
Okay, so you got the prime minister here. Okay, now this is a liberal prime minister. This is the liberal side. Okay, and then on the other side is the conservative side, and you have the minority leader. Okay, so he gets to stand here, the minority leader, the prime minister gets to stand here, and they go back and forth. So the leader of the country, the PM, has to answer to the opposition party. Follow me? And guys, you have to be quick on your feet. You have to be smart. You have to be witty. You need to know your stuff. Okay, it's not scripted. All right, so in this system, it's a lot more volatile. Okay, but I think you get good candidates that can handle themselves well. You know what I mean? Like they know the issues. They can talk about them. And but yes, of course, it is pretty chaotic. Now, back here, guys, in the back row, okay, are what are called backbenchers. So the more powerful you are, the closer you sit to the front. Okay, and the people that are new or the people that other people in the party don't like, you sit back here. So Winston Churchill, who you've all heard of, started in the Parliament on the left. Okay, he was a backbencher over here. Then he switched parties. He was a backbencher over here. Neither party wanted it. Okay, but when the war happened, World War II came, he was the one that was always warning about it. And he was right. He predicted what was going to happen. And so they chose him to run the country during the war. Okay, and then when the war was over, they got rid of him. Okay, so you definitely see a big difference between our two systems. This is a little bit more fun, but okay. So homework due tomorrow night and test on Wednesday.